Hello everyone, my name is Tamas and tonight we are going to play Victory and Glory Napoleon, which we just released today. I have here with me Glenn Rover, who is one of the developers of the game, the main designer in fact. Hi Glenn.
Hello, Tamas.
Glenn is in Las Vegas right now on a game convention, but we are hoping that the connection will work fine. So let's get started. Victory and Glory is a strategic level game about the Napoleonic Wars, where the player is playing France and is trying to gain supremacy in Europe. You see, we have a number of campaigns available. I'm going to select the main one, which starts in 1805. You can get a brief historic overview. And then we can select the difficulty level. I will go with the general one, so there will be no advantages given to either side. Okay, just checking. It seems like sound and video is all okay. Just let us know in the chat if anything is wrong. Okay, so here we go. As you can see, we are starting in the May and June turn of 1805. A quick glance over the map can show us what the briefing already told, that we are at war with Austria, Britain, and also it was mentioned with Russia. And we are basically just before the very unfortunate Battle of Trafalgar, unfortunate for the French anyway. Napoleon is still here in northern France, waiting for his fleet, while the Austrians are poised to strike in northern Italy. So let's take a look at our situation. Now the game concentrates on land and naval battles and operational movement in the map. There is diplomacy via the influence system, which I just opened up, where you can spend your political influence points on the different great powers. As France, you mainly do this to keep them out of the war. You can get some of them on your side, gain control over them to be more precise, but you mostly achieve that via military means. The rest of the game revolves around the pretty cool event card system. So let me open it up. These event cards cover a lot of things: military, tactical improvements, operational maneuvers, like you can see forced march over here, political and diplomatical options. And at the start of the game, you receive cards in a semi-random manner. So some of the cards are predetermined to be present at start in any given scenario. The rest are random, which means that for example, you will always start with one Napoleon's Genius card, which is a number of battle bonuses, which I will show you later. But things you can see like the defensive terrain card, bribe major nation one, these are these got to me randomized. Oh, and Glenn, I'm not sure if you can see it already on the stream, but I have the strategic movement card, which is very nice. Um, the
Yeah, that should allow you to march very quickly toward the Austrians.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping for. So you see, the force march card is also very nice, but it lets you move two regions, while strategic movement allows you to move three, as long as you are moving on friendly or neutral territory. Speaking of friendly and neutral, you can see that the blue coloring shows France itself, and the lighter blue coloring shows the regions under French control. And you see the other great powers are colored with their own colors. Austria and Russia with deeper ones, because they are right now at war with us, with Prussia being neutral. Okay. If you take a look around, you can also see that we have 4 activations this turn, and we need to make good use of those. So let's see. One thing we don't want to forget is move our army in Italy out of harm's way. So let's just move these guys out of here.
I usually like to march it down south and combine it with the army in Naples.
Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. I just combined this army in Piedmont with the 2 units there, but for sure it's the army of Naples has an artillery and a general of its own, so it would be a stronger stock combined. And speaking of the navy, our combined French and Spanish navies down here at the Barbary Coast. Now, it's you can see that its road toward France and the Channel is blocked by a British fleet of similar size. Well, it is not impossible in the game to gain at least temporary naval supremacy and even invade Britain, but this is not the best start for that. So why don't I just try and save my fleet for later? So I will use my second activation to move the guys first to the Gulf of Marseille and then safely to port. Okay, and let's use my quite rare opportunity of immediately rushing to Bavaria's aid. You see that Bavaria is under French control, and they have 4 units without a general, so they are pretty exposed to the Austrians. So I'm going to the event cards, selecting strategic movement, and then I need to select the stack I want it to apply on. I already have Napoleon's stack selected, so I'm just clicking select army, and off I go.
Usually armies only get to march 1 region on a turn,
Yeah.
And this card allows you to actually move 3 regions, which is a really big benefit, but you can't march through enemy areas, or if you fight a battle, you have to stop. But it's a great way to move an army a longer distance to get into position.
Indeed. And you see that this scenario, Sweden starts under British control. And so what I'm going to do with my remaining 1 activation is just kind of start merging my forces, which are scattered around Belgium and Germany, just in case the Brits want to try something coming down from the north. Okay, we are out of activations, so let's end the turn. Okay, you see that the game is full of tooltips and all kinds of extra information that you get at the different stages of the game, which you can prompt to not show again. But it's pretty useful when it's your first time with the game. Okay, so now it's the AI's turn. You see the British fleet is moving to lock me in my ports, and also in general the AI is making sure that I will not have an easy time moving with my fleets. In fact, what you see is I moved my main fleet to a port which was undefended, so the Brits have raided my port basically and force my fleet out of to the sea. Now, especially when you try to wrestle naval control from Britain, you would want to do a battle manually. But since we have, but I really would like to show you guys the land battle system. So let me use this opportunity to show you the automatic battles. If you don't want to fight a battle manually, you can either watch as the AI is playing it for you, or you can just jump straight to the conclusion of the battle. So let's just do that. Okay, so I get the after battle report. This is the same report you can also see when you yourself control a battle. So it looks like one Spanish and two French squadrons were lost. Not a huge surprise. Okay, so the remains of my fleet fled to a friendly port. You could see the Austrians and the Russians moving, and now you can see the British AI. The way the game works is that basically your main enemy is Britain, and they are the ones playing cards to influence happenings. The rest of the great powers are basically third parties that can be, as I mentioned, influenced by both you and Britain. So this is Britain is not getting 2 political points, and also playing a card which gives extra Cossack units to the Russians. Right, that's not particularly good, but they need to be placed in Russia proper, so it's going to be a while before they become a problem. Okay, new French turn. Great. So my goal now is, of course, to kick Austria out of the war as soon as possible before the main Russian forces can arrive. In order to do that, I need to occupy its capital region and hold it until the start of next turn. So let's just do that and move Napoleon in. Switching to the land battle, I'm using full manual control. Going to use, well, let's see. I think with the Napoleon's Genius card, you have a number of extra options. I will use Grand Battery, which will give my artillery units 1 free round of fighting at the enemy. Yeah. Glenn, while I'm setting up my forces, could you explain the basics of the advanced battle to the guys?
Sure. So in the advanced battle, you have 3 different parts of your battle line: the right flank, center, and left flank. And there are bonuses for combined arms and for support. So you generally want to have 4 units in each battle area, if you have the troops, and you want them to be at least one of each type: infantry, cavalry, and artillery. And as you can see, each unit has a different quality rating, and that comes into the quality of the unit, the experience, the type of unit. So heavy cavalry is going to have a higher rating than light cavalry, etc. So units can get more advantage or get a quality rating increase after a battle by gaining experience. But it seems like people are having a hard time hearing me, so maybe I'll type.
All right. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I am doing the manual battle. I'm just seeing the comments. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I'm hearing Glenn just fine, and It looks like I've also set maximum volume on the streaming itself as well. Anyway, let's get going. So now this is basically my bonus round with my artilleries. Now sometimes when I'm using this option, I'm concentrating my artillery, but this time I'm feeling quite superior to the Austrians, so I'm just going to so I just disperse my artillery along my battle line, and just using these extra round with them, trying to score some hits. Okay, so our enemy cavalry and our artillery unit got disorganized. That's not too bad, but nothing dramatic either. Yeah, so the bottom right number is the quality of the unit. You see that my infantry especially is double of the Austrians. These are the early Austrians. Later on in the war, the British player will be able to play event cards which reform the armies of the enemies, simulating the process which took place historically as well, as the different countries try to adopt Napoleon's tactics and strategies. Okay, and one thing, so I've started shooting with my artillery during the normal round now. So this is pretty easy. You select the unit you want to attack with or move with, and then if you are firing, you select your target, and you see that there's a tooltip that explains to you your approximate odds of causing a hit. So this my heavy artillery is shooting on the disorganized light artillery of the enemy. So that's an excellent attack. Let's fire. Eliminated. Excellent. So let's right. So push the right flank then. Charging the enemy cavalry, no effect. Now this is one of the kind of like the neat tactical decisions you need to do. I wanted to get rid of the enemy cavalry on my right quickly, so I charged forward, and yeah, it had every chance of succeeding, but I couldn't dislodge them, and now my cavalry unit is tired, basically exhausted and stopped after the charge, and is now will be vulnerable for the enemy cavalry's counter charge, basically. So okay, this is a reminder now mentioning that there are initiative checks during the battle round. So it depends on your commander's rating, which is quite excellent for Napoleon. Of course, it's a 12. But still, it means that sometimes the enemy may grab one of the moves before you could finish. You can see at the top, this is on the top left, this is the Battle of Rab, and I have 7 activations left, the enemy 9. I mentioned we have Napoleon leading the battle on the French side, but let's use right click to check who's commanding on the enemy side. That's Archduke John there. Yeah, he is not particularly impressive. Okay, let's continue. I'll try and get rid of this enemy heavy artillery. Yeah, the unit is routed, and just pressing on as much as I can. Also, I'm going to bring up one of my reserves to the center, and as a matter of fact, let's bring one of them up to the right flank as well. Besides, moving forward to attack, there is another reason to move into contact with the enemy, and this will be my main reason while I'm pushing on the left flank as well, is that if you have enemy units in the zone next to yours, then to one of your units, then you cannot move that unit into one of the into the neighboring zone. You have to pull it back to the reserves if you want to move it, which can be decisive because the way to win a battle is to rout either one of the flanks or the center of the enemy, meaning that if at any one time there is no enemy unit at all in a given flank or the center, then their whole army routes and you win the battle. Also, after between the third and the fifth round of battle, that is, the option opens up to retreat. Either you retreat or you are routed. There will be a pursuit phase where the cavalry of the victorious side can inflict additional casualties, but your still active and fighting cavalry can counter that. So that's and of course there will be bigger losses from pursuit if the losing army actually routed and didn't retreat in good order. So this information that I just skimmed over explained that when you have routed units, you can attempt to rally them between the rounds, but I have none, so let's just fight the next round. There's a question if it's possible for Napoleon to be killed in battle. Yes, all the generals can be killed in battle. Napoleon is a special case, however. You can see I have two French Imperial Guard units here right now in battle, the guys with the fancy uniform and the 4 value. As long as you have at least one guard unit with Napoleon back in the reserves, he cannot be killed. But if you commit your less guards up into the front line, then Napoleon is fair game, so to speak, and can end up killed based on the battle results. And if Napoleon is killed, that's game over for you. So it of course means that you really don't want to leave him unguarded. But on the other hand, there can be situations where you just have to. But that usually means you're already in deep trouble. So you see, I'm trying to press my advantage in the center. Now, if you take a look, you see that there are still 4 units in the enemy reserve. So this is where initiative can be decisive, because now I will not be able to empty his center in one round, but there are situations, and you will want to create such situations that you can rout and or eliminate one of the enemy flanks quick enough so that they have no time of bringing in the reserves, which of course makes their whole army rout, and you can score a spectacular victory. Okay, you could see that I got lucky with that one because I attacked one of the infantry units with my heavy cavalry, and the infantry unit actually managed to form a square before the charge got there. But still, I got lucky with the dice roll, and I managed to eliminate it. One of the tricks that actually the AI is, let's say, combined warfare tricks that the AI is quite happy to use when given the opportunity, is to make a charge with his cavalry against your infantry. Your infantry, forms a square and defends itself, but then it's much more vulnerable against infantry attacks while still in square. And there's a pretty good chance that they will have no time to automatically switch back to regular formation. So it's a kind of like a combination attack that can be quite devastating. Right, well, this is going well so far. I'm just going to send my last regular infantry reserves to my right flank because, yeah, I mean, I'm doing pretty well, but the right flank seems a bit vulnerable. Now I'm out of activation, so we are just waiting for the enemy to finish their activations, and we are on to the next turn. Um, Yep, and once again the reminder about the rallying of units. So let me show you how that goes. Between the rounds, all I do is just double click on one of the units. You could see up front that it failed to rally, and now Napoleon is just displayed as a 10 because that cost me 2 command points for this round only. So let's try again actually. Okay, I can have 2 rallying atoms per turn, so I'm done with this. Now, speaking of the command rating, Napoleon, of course, is the highest with his 12, but there are a few 8s and 9. If I remember correctly, Wellington is a 9. So there is competition out there. And as far as the quality rating of the fighting units go, as I mentioned, it can change for the enemy armies via the play of events. But also, individual units can gain experience in battle if they perform well. So you can actually end up with some pretty formidable units who have been through many battles. All right, yeah. Glenn is just telling us that I forgot that Wellington can get as high as 11 command rating following British military reforms. Right, so I remember, speaking of the units gaining experience, I remember one particular game where, if I remember correctly, it was a Russian heavy cavalry, which rose in quality at least a couple of times during the game, and I ended up really dreading that unit, and I didn't like meeting it in battle. Okay, so once we will be able to retreat, I'm pretty sure the AI will take the opportunity. But let's just be on the safe side and take a quick look. We should be fine. Yeah, somebody mentioned my accent. Yeah, it is Hungarian, so maybe it's not the nicest thing from me from shooting at all these Austrians. But what the hell? Okay, with one of my last moves on this round, I'm going to push this lonely infantry up the right flank because I don't want to give the AI the chance to reposition its troops easily. Okay, so the AI is now finishing its turn. One more infantry routed. Well, I must say it's a closer battle than I hoped it to be. I will just use the fact that I'm streaming as an excuse because my attention is divided. Right. So as I said, when you can actually when the option of retreat gets open, it's actually random. You don't know at the start of the battle. Let's just try to rally one of these guys again.
You should move the artillery up and
Yeah.
cattle up from the reserve and really put pressure on them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I know that that the artillery is much more efficient from up close, but I usually just have an aversion from pushing them forward. Ah, yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I saw somebody asking why the eliminated units are disappearing from defeated units between rounds. That's because basically, well, they are eliminated and they can play no part in the battle anymore. However, routed units not only can be rallied, but also in the pursuit phase, they are still up uh, to be casualties. So there is a point to including them. Okay, and so on the left flank, there's just one enemy unit left. So I will show you this nice combination that you can do to basically overwhelm units that find themselves exposed against both your cavalry and infantry. So my heavy cavalry is forcing them into square, and they only get disrupted, and actually disrupt my cavalry in the process. But that's fine because I still have an infantry there, so to attack the now weakened enemy. You can see that with all these penalties and bonuses, infantry versus square, better quality, better command rating, me having support in the form of my cavalry in the same zone, and the defender disrupted now, I am able to do a crushing attack against them, which is still not guarantees, but let's see what happens. And I got unlucky and didn't manage to rout them. Oh well. Okay, second try will be at the center. I will use my cavalry against the disturbed enemy. No luck. Okay, on the right flank I have no chance to actually dislodge all three enemy units, so let's just move my artillery up, as Glenn suggested. So my infantry. I'm going to send, you can see that cavalry can move 2 zones, so just going to move them up to offer some support. I'm especially worried about the artillery, of course. It's a pretty precious unit. Although cavalry is also pretty precious for the French as well. They of course have a role in countering enemy cavalry, attacking the enemy artillery, but they are invaluable in pursuits, both doing the actual pursuing and defending against them. Okay, so end of the round, cleaning up, and this is the reminder that the required rounds of combat have been fulfilled, and either army can retreat if it wants to. Now I will be really surprised if the AI does not retreat. That's right, enemy army is retreating, which is, well, I mean, it's still good, but it's not the best possible outcome because, you know, I would have liked to rout more. This is the pursuit screen. You see, the enemy has no cavalry left to actually defend my pursuit, but since my heavy cavalry is disturbed, I only have my 2 light cavalry units to do the actual pursuing, which isn't bad because it's really light cavalry that excels at it. Okay, the pursuit itself is automatic. You see that I caused 4 damage to the enemy, so 4 of their units are eliminated. And actually, both enemy leaders, Archduke John and Archduke Ferdinand, has been killed while running for their lives, which is pretty neat. Ah yeah, and so as you can see, the pursuit phase can be pretty important. Now I got the battle summary. You see, it's labeled as crushing victory, and you can see the comparison that I've caused a lot of losses for the enemy, thanks to my superior quality. Right, so I'm getting a bonus event card because of my victory. So now I'm occupying the region of Vienna. So what will happen is next turn, well, the Austrians will probably try to retake it. I'm saying probably because there are instances where the AI decides there is just no realistic chance of winning a battle, and it will just decide to save its forces for the next war, basically. Um, let's see. I still have 2 activations remaining, so let me just quickly continue the assemble of my northern army. Although there is also the matter of the Brits getting uppity here. Okay, let's see. It's not a particularly impressive leader they have, Sir John Moore. I have a pretty mixed army. I mean, it's some Italian infantry with just a quality of 1, a pretty decent army overall, and a quite nice general in Andrei Massena. Okay, let's do this then. So another, it's a major battle again, the Battle of Toulon, because there are at least 8 units on both sides. If there were less, then this would be a minor battle where you don't have the different flanks. It's for a quicker resolution of battles that are not as decisive. Okay. I actually, you need to play your battle cards before the battle starts, and I do have the defensive terrain event, which would place a random terrain tile somewhere on my battle line, which would give me a number of bonuses, but really, as the card also hints that it's really more for defensive battles. Yeah, I've decided not to have any reserves. I should be fine, really. And I can still, move units back to the reserves if it turns out to be necessary. As I mentioned, I'm really, unless there is really good reason, ouch. So my light cavalry got eliminated. Then my Italians, that's not starting particularly well. Okay. So 3 units eliminated in 1 round. That's a lousy start. Okay. You know what? This battle isn't going well. Let's just okay, see what happens with Austria. I'm going to switch over to finish this battle. Yeah, it ended up being a close victory, which is good enough. I will take it, especially after my first round. And I get another card. Actually, let's switch over to Napoleon's stack and use my extra cards here. First, the Imperial Guard to convert one of my regular infantry into grognards, and then the heavy cavalry one to upgrade one of my light cavalry units. And then let's see what the Austrians will do. Okay, now it's the end of the turn. I get to choose which cards I want. I will go with Kingdom of Naples created because it's one of the major events that you can play, which will earn you victory points. Because the way to win the game, unless you manage to basically subdue all the major powers, including Britain, is to have more victory points than the enemy after 10 years of war. So I'm deciding to defend the region with this army. So go. Yeah, full manual control. I won the initiative check. Battle of Wagram. Yep. Let's hope it will have less plus. So the only battle card I have left is good defensive terrain. I'm actually going to use it because I am on the defensive and I have no intention of rushing forward. Nice, you see a town and 2 hills got placed for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my artillery on this hill. You can see its rating is increased from 3 to 5 due to terrain. And I'm going to put one of my infantry into the town, making them a 4. This is pretty nice. Yeah, it looks like. So you see, this is basically how the event system works in the game. It's it manages to obstruct things that like this doesn't that you need to play such a card to have good defensive terrain. Doesn't mean that it doesn't imply that generals don't try to get good terrain when they are looking for battle. It means that it's rare that they manage to find a terrain that's decisive for the defender, and that's what the card symbolizes. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, I'm going to shoot at the cavalry first. I want to get them out of the way, hopefully. No. And I will pass my initiative just to let the Austrians come. And when they do, I'm just going to shoot them. Disadvantage of, being on... I mean, just because you are the attacking side, it doesn't mean you have to push forward. But, usually you have a reason to, because it's you who want to basically force the issue, so to speak. All right. Well, I could use my cavalry to kind of lash out, but I don't want to expose them. I have no reason to really. Yeah, he's trying to get my artillery, but didn't manage to. Okay, one thing I'm not sure if you noticed, but I sure forgot to mention is that between the rounds, there is a chance for the disturbed units to recover. It's automatic, but you get a mention of it when it happens. Okay, so let's let my heavy artillery on the hilltop attack the light one down in the plains, and I'm gonna disturb them. But that's fine because I still have a cavalry to attack them. And now, of course, when I'm shooting at the units just in front of me, I'm concentrating on the still active ones that's yet to act, because ideally I would rout or eliminate them and prevent them from shooting at me. And I just managed to eliminate its light cavalry. You see we have a elite Austrian infantry, but it's still just on the same level as my regular guys. But as they will keep reforming their army as the game goes on, some of these units will become quite formidable. Oops, there goes one of my artillery units. That's not very good. So I only have 3 activations left, so I should make sure to plug that hole with one of my guard units. Well, the Austrians are putting up a decent fight. But let's not forget, I just have to hold my ground. Because if they don't manage to make me retreat from Vienna, then they will be forced to surrender. Let's try to rally my infantry unit just in case. So what will hopefully happen after this battle and following Austria's surrender is that they will become what is called a friendly neutral state for a given number of turns. It means that they will neither me nor the British can spend any political influence on them, and I will be able to use their territory to move my troops on. Also, there are a number of different events in the game that requires one country or the other to be in this friendly neutral state for you to be able to play it. Most notably, the one that lets you take over Spain, declare the Kingdom of Spain like Napoleon did, which is, well, first of all, it nets you a lot of victory points. It gives you easy access to Portugal, which is important because Portugal is a constant victory point source for the British as long as it's independent, and it does remove a threat from your back in the form of an independent Spain. On the other hand, just like in history, this event does trigger fierce resistance from the Spanish, and you will have your hands full with the guerrillas there. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to commit my heavy cavalry here in the center because I only have this one guard unit left, and as I mentioned, I want to keep this here to keep Napoleon safe. Yeah, there is yeah, it looks we are doing quite good on the left actually. But unfortunately, this was my last activation. So of course now the AI is going to fill up its right flank. So my last activation, I'm using my last active unit. Yeah, as expected, as rational, it committed all its reserves to its right, so that to avoid a collapse there. Okay, I'm going to rally my infantry here. I don't really need the artillery that much on this stage. but my reserves are running low. And as Glenn is just explaining on the text chat, the Austrians have very nice combined arms bonus in the center as they manage to move up basically all three kinds of unit, three types of units, and they are going quite strong over there. So let's just try and end that. The infantry failed to recover from the square formation, so I'm just going to unleash my guards on them. And they managed to repel them and make them push them into disturb status. That's impressive. But of course, one more assault from the other guard unit and they are routed. So let's see if my heavy cavalry can get rid of the enemy artillery. No. Well, things are going as expected, more or less. Of course, this is the time in the game where you, as Napoleon, have the greatest advantage. The enemy armies haven't been reformed yet. These are armies of the 18th century. Their quality is below yours. Their generals are really hardly up to the task of meeting Napoleon on the field. So since the scenarios last 10 years, well, most of them anyway, you really need to press this advantage, and when you are fighting battles and selecting your next targets for conquest, you need to keep this in mind. It's because you cannot afford losses as much as your enemies can, simply by the virtue of there being more of them. And Britain has its endless coffin of resources in the forms of political points. So they will keep pressuring and financing the other great powers to rejoin the war against you. And you have only limited means to counter that. You are getting political points, but only from certain events and from forcing major powers to surrender. So it's not a constant flow of political influence like the Brits has, which of course nicely simulates the fact that Napoleon wasn't exactly popular with the monarchs of Europe. Okay, let's see. It would be nice to do something on my right. They seem to be the weakest there, but just no dice. Okay, the center continues to be a problem. Let's, but I still have a chance of breaking the enemy right, actually. Yeah, Glenn just mentioned on the chat that regarding Napoleon's unpopularity, there are ways around that. There is, for example, the marriage card, which lets you do a dynastic marriage with one of the other great powers, which will greatly improve your relations with them, although slightly decreased it with the others. Yep, that's right. They actually eliminated one of my Imperial Guards, which is, yeah, pretty rare, I must tell you. But as you can see, it can happen. So that's the thing. Even if you have Napoleon and the superior units, you cannot take things for granted, and you need to pay attention and have the proper approach and proper plan for each battle. Yeah, required number of combat have been fulfilled. Yeah, the enemy is retreating, which is not surprising. Uh, I had the upper hand, and yeah, they will live to fight another day. Alright, so you can see that he's actually able to defend against my pursuit, but let's try nonetheless. You see that during the pursuit phase I actually suffered a hit and caused one. And our charge is gone. Well, my war has been really lucky in that regard, eliminating enemy leaders left and right. Okay, this was a pretty nice victory. Also notice that because of this strategic movement card that I started the game with, I managed to defeat the Austrians before the Russian armies joined in. Now, of course, the Russians wouldn't have been able to do a miracle, but they do have some decent units at least right from the start. So they are definitely the toughest enemies. Okay, you can see the British AI shuffling its fleets around. It always tries to make sure that I am not able to break out with any of my fleets. Yay! Austria defeated. So in these cases, you get a nice picture and an explanation of what happened. And I get my 2 bonus cards because of my victory. And now the Russian armies are forced out of Austria, but I actually remain in war with Russia. So let's see the situation we have. Because of my victory over Austria, yeah, Glenn is just yeah mentioning that yeah my tactical choices in the battle haven't actually been the best. Of course, as I'm trying to explain it to you guys and also listen to the chat, that's not helping my limited ability as a general. So I have 4 political points because of my victory over Austria. You see that Prussia has been decreased to 3 by Britain, and from the diplomacy rating of 2 or below, the Brits have the chance to bring a power into war against you. So let's spend the maximum allowed, which is 2 political points at once, on Prussia, just to keep them neutral for a while at least. And let's see what event cards I have. You can see one of these diplomatic options I mentioned, this bribe major nation card. Basically, I could hand over one of the regions I control to one of the neutral, so either Austria, Russia, or Prussia, and have my diplomatic rating increase with them significantly. I believe I can create the Kingdom of Naples actually, so let's do that. You see that Naples have come under my control, and as the card text explained, I got 2 bonus units. Okay, so at this stage in the campaign, as Glenn also mentioned on the chat, although I was victorious twice against the Austrians, I really didn't perform as well as I could have or probably should have. I have 13 units left. My quality reinforcements will be coming from Paris at the end of the year, which I will need to use to replenish my army to be in a truly good offensive shape. Coming back to the political diplomacy screen for a moment, you see that Austria will be friendly neutral for 6 turns. And that gives me. So what I should probably do is switch my attention to Prussia and just try to at least temporarily remove them from the war. There is an event card that lets you take over Prussia, make it your territory basically until it's liberated by one of the other great powers. But of course I don't have that yet. This again how the event system works in the game, since such a move, basically convincing / forcing Prussia to accept your superiority and become your ally. That's dependent on a big number of different factors, and this is simulated by the fact that you cannot just do it on a whim. You actually have to have the event card in your hand for it to happen. Still, I would probably want to do that just to make sure that they stay out of the war for a while. While I do still have the upper hand, and then of course there is this British incursion that I should take care of. But I'm afraid that's all we had time for today. So I do hope I managed to give you just a little overview of what the gameplay is like. We didn't really get anywhere near the campaign. I mean, we are just in September of 1805. This game goes until the end of 1815. There's almost 100 event cards in the game. So really, what I just showed you is the is really just a glimpse of how the game plays, and what kind of events happen, and how the different military maneuvers and the battles can shape how the strategic map looks like. But I hope you enjoyed it. And
can you force one of the minor nations to join the French Empire? Can you show that? Do we have one?
Yeah, sure. Let's just do that. I actually have troops on Westphalia, so I will use the minor nation joins the empire card, select Westphalia, and yeah, there we go. So you see that it's switched to blue. So now this yields me now some extra victory points. You see, you get points for regions controlled, which I just increased now, major battles, events, nations you defeated. So right now I have a humble advantage over Great Britain, but I would need much more before the end of the game if I wanted to be victorious. Okay, so the game is out already on the Matrix store and on Steam as well. If you go to the forums, you can get a glimpse of the manual. Glenn has produced a number of very nice tutorial videos that go into more details into explaining the different game functions. So I hope you will like the game as much as I do. I have spent a lot of time with it, not just as part of my work, but also in my free time, because it's a very replayable, very fun game with which gives you constant tough and interesting choices. So thanks for listening, and see you later.